Listen, asking for open marriage is enough. That's enough to divorce, break up, whatever you need to do. Get away from her. But asking for a one-sided open marriage? How bold are you?
My ex-wife demanded a one-sided open marriage and lost her mind when I said no. Hey man, I just want to start by saying thank you for putting out the kind of content you do. I randomly stumbled across your channel late one night after work, still trying to process the whirlwind that was my divorce. I was scrolling through YouTube, half listening to some podcast in the background, when one of your videos popped up. The thumbnail read something like, "She wanted a one-sided open marriage." I clicked, not expecting much, but the moment I heard the guy's story, I just sat back and thought, holy crap, someone else went through this insanity too. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to write into a YouTube channel, but hearing that story gave me a weird kind of closure. Or maybe just the sense that I wasn't completely alone in this. So here's mine. My name's Rick. I'm 39, divorced with no kids, thank God, and living a much quieter life now. Let me tell you what happened, how we met and dated for years. I met my ex-wife, let's just call her Kay, when we were both in our late 20s. I was 29, she was 27. We met at a mutual friend's wedding. She was sitting alone at a table near the back, and I cracked some lame joke about how it felt like we were seated at the kids' table. She laughed. We ended up talking the whole night. Kay was smart, sarcastic, confident. She had that dry sense of humor I loved, and we hit it off quick. After the wedding, we exchanged numbers, and 2 days later, we went out for sushi. One date turned into 3, then 10. Before I knew it, we were spending almost every weekend together. We dated for 5 years before getting married. That's not a short amount of time. We lived together for 3 of those years. I thought I knew her inside and out. Looking back now, I realize I ignored a lot of red flags because I wanted things to work. Our big disagreement, kids. One of the biggest issues during our dating phase was about children. I always knew I wanted to be a father, not necessarily 4 or 5 kids, but 1? Absolutely. I've got a niece and 2 nephews, and being around them made me feel like I was meant to be someone's dad. Kay, on the other hand, was totally against it. She'd say things like, "I just don't think I'm cut out for motherhood," or "kids ruin relationships." We had a few arguments about it, and I remember breaking things off once during our 2nd year because I told her I couldn't build a future with someone who didn't want the same things. She came back crying, saying she'd been thinking about it a lot, and maybe it was her fear talking. She said, "Let's just get married and revisit the idea 3 years in. I just need time." I bought it. I wanted to believe her. I loved her, and I convinced myself it wasn't a deal breaker. Marriage started out great, then she changed. The first 2 years of marriage were solid. We took a trip to Italy, adopted a rescue dog, and started saving to buy a home. I'd say it was the most stable time in our relationship. We had good routines, good communication, or so I thought. But in the 3rd year, everything started to shift. Kay began acting different, colder, less affectionate. She started working late more often, staying glued to her phone and pulling away from any conversation that had to do with our future, especially the kid thing. 4 incidents that made me suspect she was cheating. Let me give you the 4 big moments that opened my eyes. Incident 1. We had a joint laptop at home that we used mostly for bills and emails. One night while she was showering, I logged in to check our utilities. I noticed her Gmail was still open and there was a message from someone named Zach, work. It was something like, "I can't stop thinking about last weekend." I clicked it, heart pounding, but it was already deleted. Just that preview remained. When I confronted her, she brushed it off as a joke between coworkers. "He's just weird like that," she said. "Ignore him." I let it go, stupidly. Incident 2. She came home one night smelling like cologne, not mine, a strong musky scent. She claimed it was from hugging a client goodbye at a work dinner. She even made a show of being annoyed by it, rubbing her arm and saying, "Ugh, it's like it transferred onto me." Again, I let it go. Incident 3. She started guarding her phone like it was the nuclear codes. She used to leave it charging in the kitchen. Now it was face down, always with her, even in the bathroom. I asked her why she changed. She snapped at me, told me I was being paranoid, and said she just wanted privacy in this marriage. Red Flag City. Incident 4. The final straw before the bomb dropped was when I came home early from work. Her car was in the driveway, but she didn't answer when I came in. I walked upstairs and heard whispering in the guest room. I opened the door. No one was there, but I swear I heard a man's voice go silent. She came out of the bathroom 2 minutes later in a robe, acting surprised I was home. Said she had a migraine and had been sleeping. I asked her who she was talking to. She denied everything. Gaslit me into thinking I was losing it. The bomb drops. She wants a one-sided open marriage. About 2 weeks after that last incident, Kay sat me down for what she called a serious adult conversation. I thought maybe she was finally going to admit to cheating. Nope. She said, and I quote, "Rick, I love you and I want to stay married to you, but your libido is just not enough for me. I need more." I was stunned. She continued, "I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I think an open marriage would solve a lot of our problems. I wouldn't have to leave you and you'd still have me. But I need permission to see someone else. Just one other person. Nothing emotional, just physical." I stared at her like she had just grown horns. When I asked if this would be mutual, she said, "You don't need anyone else. I'm all you need, but I definitely need at least one other man." That was the moment I knew it was over. I got a lawyer and filed for divorce. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I just got up, packed a bag, and went to stay with my older brother for a while. That same week, I found a lawyer and started the divorce process. When Kay was served, she lost her damn mind. Suddenly, she was texting nonstop, calling me 15 times a day, emailing long paragraphs about how I was being dramatic, how we could work through this, how she was just confused and emotionally overwhelmed. She showed up at my brother's house. She came to my brother's house 3 times, once with flowers, once with a handwritten letter, once in full tears, kneeling in the driveway, begging me to just talk to her. It was humiliating. I didn't budge. She tried to drag out the divorce. That's when the court game started. Her lawyer pulled every stunt in the book, claimed she was too emotionally unwell to attend hearings, submitted incomplete financial disclosures, requested a 90-day extension to consider reconciliation, accused me of being financially abusive because I froze our joint account after moving out. It took over 10 months to finalize what should have taken 3. She even tried to demand spousal support, even though we had nearly identical incomes and no kids. My lawyer shut that down quick. I finally got my divorce, but it wasn't over. Once the divorce was official, I thought that would be the end. It wasn't. Kay started showing up at places I frequented, the gym, the grocery store, even my work parking lot once. I hadn't given her my schedule, and we'd already blocked each other. But there she was. When I ignored her, she'd cry. When I asked her to leave, she'd say I owed her at least a conversation. One night, she left a note on my windshield that said, "You're making the biggest mistake of your life." That was when I knew I needed to take legal action. I got a restraining order. It wasn't easy. You don't get a restraining order for being annoying, but I documented everything: texts, voicemails, photos of her car parked outside places I never invited her to. Eventually, with my lawyer's help, I was granted a restraining order for harassment and stalking. Haven't seen or heard from her since. At least not yet. I'll send a follow-up with what happened next. I wanted to share this because I think there are more guys like me out there who get blindsided by someone they thought they knew. Guys who overlook red flags because love makes you stupid sometimes. I'm just grateful we didn't buy that house we were looking at. Grateful we never had kids. That would have locked me to her for life. I'm in therapy now. I'm healing. And I've got stories to tell about what happened after the restraining order, but I'll save that for another email. Thanks for reading, man, and seriously, keep doing what you're doing. These stories matter more than people realize. Rick's subject, Life After the Restraining Order, Rick's Update, Part 2. Hey man, I said I'd send a follow-up, so here it is. This is what happened after the restraining order. Strap in, because even though the divorce was final, the drama with Kay didn't just vanish. People think once the court signs the paper, the nightmare ends. Let me tell you, for some of us, that's just when it shifts into a different kind of chaos. The calm before the storm. After the restraining order was granted, I had a brief stretch of peace. Kay backed off. No texts, no voicemails, no more awkward run-ins. I went 2 months without hearing a peep from her. I remember walking my dog one night around the neighborhood, listening to music and thinking, this is it. This is what healing feels like. I started sleeping better. My appetite came back. I finally felt like myself again. I signed up for boxing classes to get out of my own head and started focusing on work more. I wasn't out here trying to get back in the game. I just wanted to feel normal again. I even did something symbolic, or got rid of every single thing in my apartment that reminded me of her. Tossed the wedding photos, donated the cookware set we picked out together, and deleted every backup of our wedding video. It was like I was exorcising a demon. Then, the anonymous messages started. About 3 months after the restraining order was issued, I started getting weird emails. At first, they looked like spam, burner accounts with no names, and vague subject lines like, just thought you should know. The messages were always short. Kay's not doing well. She talks about you constantly. You really broke her. Hope you're proud. She never cheated on you. You overreacted. At first, I ignored them, but after the 5th one, I started screenshotting and saving everything. My gut told me it was her, or at least someone close to her. I gave the emails to my lawyer and we filed a complaint to show she was violating the spirit, if not the letter, of the restraining order. Nothing came of it at that point, but I made it clear, if this escalated, I'd be back in court. The new guy. Here's where it gets even messier. One night I ran into a guy named Kyle at a mutual friend's cookout. He was cool, funny, and we were bonding over ribs and craft beer when he suddenly goes, "Wait a minute, are you Rick? You used to be married to Kay, right?" I froze. He looked a little embarrassed and said, "Man, I didn't mean to bring up old stuff, but I think I'm dating your ex-wife." Turned out Kyle had been seeing Kay for a few weeks. She hadn't told him much, just that she had a controlling ex-husband and was recovering from a toxic marriage. I had to laugh, not out of bitterness, but because the irony of her dating someone in my friend circle was just too much. I didn't trash her, I just told him the truth. She asked me for a one-sided open marriage, stalked me after I said no, and got hit with a restraining order. Do what you want with that info. He was silent for a while and then thanked me. A week later, I heard from a mutual friend that Kyle dumped her. The cry for help. A few weeks after that, Kay sent a message to my mom. Yes, my mom. She messaged her on Facebook, from a new account, of course, saying she was mentally spiraling and afraid for her future and needed to clear the air with me before she could move on with her life. My mom showed me the message and asked if she should respond. I told her not to. I wasn't heartless. I genuinely hoped Kay got the help she needed, but I wasn't going to be guilt-tripped into more drama. She wanted freedom. She got it. Now she had to sit with it. My lawyer filed a report noting the contact attempt as another boundary breach. Still, unless she did something direct or threatening, the police weren't going to do much. Starting over. By this point, it had been nearly a year since the divorce was finalized. I had finally started dating again, but casually. No expectations, no talk of the future, just dinner, laughter, and getting to know people without pressure. One woman I met, let's call her Jade, was super cool. Down to earth, funny, patient. She knew about my past and respected my boundaries. We saw each other on and off for a few months, but I realized I wasn't ready to give anyone my full self. Not yet. Jade told me, I'd rather you take the time to heal than try to force something with me you're not ready for. That kind of honesty hit deep. We ended things on good terms. Around that time, I started journaling. Nothing fancy, just raw thoughts. Writing became a form of therapy. I even printed out a copy of the original email I sent you and reread it one night. It felt like reading someone else's life. Running into her again. I wish I could say I never saw Kay again, but life has a cruel sense of humor. I was at Target picking up stuff for my niece's birthday party when I heard someone say my name. I turned around. There she was. Kay. Same piercing stare, but she looked tired, like life had chewed her up and spit her back out. She wasn't wearing makeup, had dark circles under her eyes, and her once perfect hair was now messy and unkempt. We stood there for a second, not speaking. Then she said, "Hi." I nodded. Kay, she started talking. Fast. Told me she was in therapy now, that she was diagnosed with BPD, that she had no friends left and didn't know who she was anymore, that she never stopped loving me. I stayed silent. She said she had a dream where we got back together, that she still felt connected to me, that she knew she messed everything up, but maybe we were meant to be apart so we could come back stronger. I finally spoke. I said, Kay, I wish you nothing but peace and healing, but I'm not that guy anymore, and we're not those people anymore. Take care. She started crying in the middle of Target. I walked away. Closure. That moment, seeing her like that, gave me more closure than I expected. Not because I enjoyed seeing her fall apart. I didn't. But because it finally killed that part of me that felt guilty for walking away. For months, I second-guessed myself, wondered if I was too harsh, if I could have tried harder, but seeing her and hearing her words made me realize I did try. I gave her more grace than she deserved. I stayed long after the relationship had already rotted from the inside. The man she fell in love with, me, doesn't exist anymore. That guy got destroyed, rebuilt, and upgraded. Now, I live in peace. What I've learned. So here's what I want to tell the guys who follow your channel and might be where I was 2 years ago. You're not crazy. If your gut is screaming that something's off, listen. It's probably right. Don't compromise on core values. I should have walked away for good the moment she said she didn't want kids. Instead, I let love blind me. Protect your peace at all costs. Divorce is brutal, but sometimes staying is worse. Therapy isn't weakness. I thought I could tough it out, bottle it up. Nah, getting professional help was the best decision I made. Closure doesn't come in a conversation. It comes in how you live after the storm passes. Final thoughts. I don't know what Kay's doing now. I blocked everything after that Target run-in. I wish her well, but I also know I'll never let her back into my world again. Life now is simple. I'm spending time with family more. I recently adopted a second dog, a goofy German Shepherd named Tank. I finally booked that solo trip to Colorado I kept postponing. My mornings start with peace, not anxiety, and I'm no longer defined by someone else's chaos. Thank you again for reading my story. You gave me a voice when I felt invisible. I'm not sure if I'll write again, but if I do, it'll be as a man who's fully healed and thriving. To anyone reading this, you're not weak for walking away. You're strong for choosing yourself. Rick.